Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Ielts Listening Acuity. This is me, Hannah Kishaji, joining you from Ielts Academy. Yes, we've come with yet another Ielts Listening Live to help you with listening. So, have you been practicing your listening? And how are things going? Are you able to answer questions? Are you able to see some improvements in your listening? Do let me know in the comments, and I've been receiving messages from people saying it was helpful, but I would also like to know it in the comments, like how it was useful for you, or what are the problems that you're facing while doing your listening, and what's still causing you all the trouble. You can let me know in the comments. And I don't think listening is giving you a lot of time because, like I always say, it's one of the easiest modules in IELTS when compared to all the other three modules we have, because where we have to invest a lot of time. And if you have a strategic approach towards your listening, you can save your time for the other modules. So your aim in learning listening, or your aim when learning listening, should be to take the least of the time, all right, so that you can use the rest of the time for your other modules, and that would make things much easier, convenient, and comfortable for you. That would make your lives much easier. Okay, so I'm telling you tips and strategies to help you improve your listening. Basically, it's mainly about avoiding some mistakes, some careless mistakes, or mistakes that would happen because we don't read the context, or we are a bit careless, or we did not hear something properly. It's mostly like that. For example, I think one of the challenging things in IELTS listening is that they give you an instruction before, like a few questions. Before a set of questions, you will be given an instruction. That instruction would tell you the number of words, okay, the word count, the number of words that you have to write as the answer. So if you write more than that, your answer will be wrong. Even if technically your answer is correct, you may not get marks for it. So that is one important thing. So reading the instruction has to be a habit for you, and not just reading, understanding it within that short period of time, because you're given maybe like 30 seconds in total to go through 5 questions or 6 questions, or sometimes even 10 questions. So during that time, you can't spend a lot of time reading your instruction. You just have to take a glimpse of it. So when you do that, if you have to understand it within like the first look, then you have to practice with such instructions. You have to understand what it means before even going for the test. So in a way, for example, write no more than 2 words. So this is a simple statement, but when you're given, or when you're asked to read it within 2 seconds, things will be really confusing. So better, when every time you do it, just try to understand it fully and then do it. All right, so spend some time and do it. Like I've said, when you are learning, and a lot of students face this problem, like not able to finish reading the questions within the time given to you. So I already gave you a tip, which is to just use the time that's given for you to check your work, to check your answers, to even read the question. So you will get 30 seconds, if it's 30 seconds, 1 minute. That is a very good thing that you can do. Another thing you can do is improve your reading speed. Even then, if you're not able to finish it within time, you have to work on your reading speed. But take it slow, right? So when you're practicing the first test, you were just able to finish reading 5 questions out of the 10 questions. It's okay. Just pause the audio and read the remaining. But the next time you practice, you have to try to finish at least 6 questions. Then the next time you try to finish 7, then 8, then 9. So that's how you improve. So work on taking small steps and improving yourself. So that's something which you have to do. Improve your reading speed. And another thing is vocabulary. So I told you, or I've mentioned in the previous lives, that when you're doing your listening practice, don't do it in a stretch. Like taking a whole audio, what people do is they take the whole audio, they listen to it, They do all the 40 questions and then they check the answers, they correct it, they put the marks, and they leave it there. It doesn't work that way. I mean, you may improve a little bit, but you wouldn't get the best out of it. If you really want the best out of it, what you have to do is, like what I said, you have to spend some time for each audio. That means you play the audio. If you don't understand a word, or if you didn't hear that properly, or if you couldn't find the answer for that question or something like that, just pause it. Pause it and try to process it. If it's a word that you've heard before, if it's something which you don't know, just go research on what that is. Not like an extensive research where you learn everything about that word, just the meaning of that word, and then come back. Alright? So what happens is you're not missing on anything. And sometimes what you see is you hear some repeated words in different audios. So if you learn the meaning in this one, so maybe it may not be the answer. Like, not knowing the meaning of that word may not even affect your answer. But it is important that you learn the meaning of that word, because if you come across the same word in another audio, and where you need to know the meaning of this word in order to get the answer, then it would be very helpful if you've already learned the meaning of that word. So just make sure you do that. And also, when you're making a mistake, like I said, you can go for a micro listening shadowing technique. Shadowing technique is a technique that's like you get 2 words in one shot, because if you're doing the shadowing technique, which is just listening to the audio, doing micro listening and repeating what they're saying in the audio, and you're learning the sounds, the pronunciation, the movement of the mouth, how each word is pronounced. When you do that, first thing is your muscles will move. That would help you speak fluently, and that would help you with your speaking, because fluency is one of the assessment criteria of your speaking. Fluency is one of the assessment criteria of speaking. So that would help you that way. But also, these pronunciations or the way the word is said, that would remain in your head. So next time you hear that word, you'll be able to understand it even if the audio is not clear. So most of the time I tell my students this thing, that even when you read, when you're reading something, for example, I'm reading adults must accompany. Okay, when I'm reading this word, I'm not actually, or I'm not technically reading it. My brain, what it's actually doing is, it's just trying to take the words that are already in the brain, that is already stored, and reproducing it. It's not, okay, they're just taking a picture of it and just producing something that sounds similar to that word. So that is why, even if sometimes when there is a minor mistake, for example, instead of A, even if an O was written for accompany, for an instead of A, an O was written, you wouldn't even recognize it, because you're not technically reading that way. You are doing this thing where when you hear a bit, then you understand it better. So this is why you can understand, if when you were listening to a new language, a language or a foreign language, or a language that you're not very comfortable in, what happens is you will want to ask the other person to repeat certain words again and again, whereas a native speaker wouldn't have to do it. Why? Because they hear like some part of the word, they can easily recognize it. Most of our audios are clear, but it is like when each word is not pronounced, like when native speakers pronounce the words, they don't pronounce it fully, or so, even in our mother tongue, that's what we do, right? We don't pronounce each and every sound. We don't enunciate. We don't actually pronounce each and every sound in the word, because we're using it every day. So when you do it, you don't have time to actually pronounce each and every word, and it would sound weird. So when they are pronouncing some words, some part of it may not be that clear, but we shouldn't feel like I need the pronunciation, perfect pronunciation to understand a word. So you have to be exposed to those things. You have to learn. You have to do this so that you learn the pronunciation of this word, and so when you hear it, you would be able to easily recognize it, because that's very important. Understanding a word that you hear in the audio, as and when it is said, is very important to write the answers properly, because you're listening to an audio that's flowing, that's going like this. So if you miss somewhere, then the answers coming below would also be wrong. And another thing, a lot of students get nervous when one answer goes wrong. It's okay, all right? It's okay if you're making an answer wrong, just move on. So develop that skill as well. So first, when you practice, the first few days when you practice, pause and do this and learn it. Make it a learning process and set another material for practice. That is where you wouldn't stop, but if you hear a difficult word or something, you will make a note of it, but you wouldn't pause and do it like you do this. The other material would be like the practice material. So where you practice. So try to do it like that. If you want a strategic approach towards your IELTS listening, so I can give you this method that you can try. Like I think I've mentioned in the previous live as well. If you're a student who's getting 37, or imagine I can give you a tips for students who are getting 30 to 35, then 35 to 40, that range. So if you are somebody who is getting scores between 30 to 35, if you're that student, make sure you practice your listening every day. Within 1 week or 2 weeks, like the method I told you, the way I told you, in 1 week or 2 weeks, I'm so sure you will see an improvement. If you're doing it in the way I asked you to do, that is pausing the audio, listening to that part again if you don't understand, or even then if you don't understand, going to YouTube, reducing the playback speed and listening to it, then doing shadowing. And if you're doing that process and then practicing another material, you have to do it every day for 2 weeks. You'll see an improvement. You'll come to 35 to 40, that range. All right, if you are someone in your 35 to 40 range, you have to do this alternate days, all right? Every day make sure you practice, but on alternate days, you do this really extensive practice, okay? So this is how you can do. So that for 35 to 40, that range students, you can utilize the remaining time you have for your speaking, listening, or writing. I mean, speaking, reading, or writing. All right, that's how you have to do it. So a strategic approach is going to make it easy, and it is not at all difficult. It is an easy module, so you should try to score maximum from this. So when I tell you when I tell you it's an easy module, I have this fear that will some students stop practicing, and you shouldn't be doing this. What I'm saying is, for speaking, writing, or reading, even if you practice, the improvement is going to be slow. It's not that you wouldn't improve, you will definitely improve if you're practicing, but it would be very slow. But with listening, you can see like the improvement really quick, and it's really easy to work on that, and that gives you a sense of achievement and joy and everything. So it's always a good thing when you do something and you see the results and you're able to see the results. It's absolutely a pleasure to see that. So that's why this would give you some kind of energy, some kind of confidence. So you have to focus on this. You have to spend the time, but strategically. You should have a strategy for this, like how you actually want to do it. All right? Okay. So now what I will be doing is I will show the material on the screen. So the questions will be shown on the screen. So this is Cambridge IELTS listening, Cambridge IELTS Book 6, Test 2, Section 1. So we'll be covering one section a day. All right, in every listening live, we'll be covering one section. So today we'll be covering question number 1 to 10 from section 1. So it's usually a conversation between two people on an everyday social context. So here it's about children's art and craft workshops. So there's nothing to be worried about. It's an easy one. But the only thing you have to be careful is just read the instructions, look at the word count, and make sure you have a look at that. All right, so that's what we will be doing. Hope you're ready for it. Are you all ready for it? Let me know in the comments. Yes, so we shall begin. All right. So now the material will be shown on the screen and you will be able to hear the audio.
First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. you will see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first.
Good morning, Sidmouth Museum. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. Good morning. I'm interested in the children's workshops, and I'd like a little more information, please.
Do you mean the art and craft workshops?
Yes, a friend of a friend mentioned them. The children do painting and make models and so forth.
Yes, of course. Where to begin? First of all, as you probably know, they run every Saturday.
The workshops are organised every Saturday, so Saturday has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5.
Good morning, Sidmouth Museum. Can I help you?
Oh, yes. Good morning. I'm interested in the children's workshops, and I'd like a little more information, please.
Do you mean the art and craft workshops?
Yes, a friend of a friend mentioned them. The children do painting and make models and so forth.
Yes, of course. Where to begin? First of all, as you probably know, they run every Saturday.
Fine. And what about ages?
Well, all ages from 5 upwards are welcome, though we do ask that children below 8 years of age are accompanied by an adult.
Fine. That wouldn't be a problem. What about cost?
Well, I think you'll find them very reasonable. It's £2.50 a child, with 80p off for 2 or more children from the same family.
Oh, yes. Very reasonable. And are they held in the main museum?
Not exactly. They're nearby.
Could you give me the full address? I don't know the area very well.
Yes, it's Winter House,
Right.
and that's in Tamer Street.
Could you spell that, please?
Yes, Tamer Street.
Lovely.
And I do need to tell you that there's a security entrance, so you need to press the green button for someone to let you in. Don't press the red button, please. But don't worry, it's all clearly labelled.
Okay. And one more question. Is parking available nearby? We're driving in from out of town.
Your best bet is to leave your car at the back of the library. On a Saturday morning, there are plenty of spaces there. It's right next door to the museum.
And can I ask about booking places?
Yes, and I must tell you, you really should book by calling the education department here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Should I have rung them instead of the main museum number?
No, that's fine this time. Please don't worry. But for future reference, I'll give you the direct number. It's 200-765.
Great. I've got that.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10.
But I'm very happy to give you information about the next 2 workshops. On Saturday the 16th, there's building castles.
Oh, sounds great.
This involves quite a bit of glue, so just make sure the kids are in old clothes.
I know. Ones I don't mind getting mucky.
Exactly. And if possible, could you bring along bottle tops, which the children might be able to use in the models, as decoration?
We'll certainly try to find some for you.
Then the following week...
That'll be the 23rd, won't it?
Yes, that's right. On that day, it's what we call undersea worlds. This is where they make scenes with fishes, underground caverns, and so on.
Is that likely to get very dirty? Lots of paint splashes?
Not really. so we don't recommend any special clothes for that one. But if you could search out some silver paper to bring along to use in the sessions, it's shiny, it looks like water, that'd be great.
Yes, of course. We'll see what we can come up with. Well, thank you ever so much for all your help. The sessions sound really good, and I'll certainly book up for the next 2.
Lovely. Thanks very much for ringing.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
You can either take a screenshot of it or copy them down. Okay, this would be very helpful if you do that, because while we're discussing the answers with the help of audio script, you would be able to connect with the question. You would be able to understand why it became the answer. You will get an idea like that. All right, so it's always good that you have the question paper with you when we're discussing the answers. Only then it will be useful for you. So why are we actually discussing with the help of audio script? Because there would be some words, maybe it's the word that we already know, for example, I'm going to, but it might look at the word going to, but then it might be not pronounced that way in the audio, so you might have not heard it correctly. But when we discuss it with the help of audio script, you will be able to hear that word properly. You'll know, okay, this is what I heard there. Okay, so, and you can refer this material once again. You can revisit this page and this video and watch it again and learn how it's pronounced. Okay, this is this live will be available on our Ethos page as well as on YouTube Ethos Academy. All right, so if you want to refer it in the future, you can go watch it. All right, so when you're practicing, it would be very helpful. So now make a note of it. Section 1, questions 1 to 10. Write it really quick. Write no more than 2 words and or a number. Children's art and craft workshops. You don't have to write the example. Write the bullet points. Adults must accompany children under. Costs £2.5. Workshops held in Winter House. Question number 2, space, street. Security device must push the dash to open the door. Should leave car behind the dash. Book workshops by phoning the dash brackets on 200 765. All right. Questions 6 to 10. Complete the table below. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. Next 2 workshops. Date 16/11. Workshop title building. Then 6, put question number 6 in blank. Children advised to wear. 7. Please bring if possible. 8, blank. Next row, 23/11. 9, put 9 in blank. Next column, nothing special. 10, blank. All right, so now that you've copied the questions, we will discuss one by one each question. So first, like I always tell you, What is important? The instructions given. The instruction given is very important. What is the instruction given here? Here, they have said no more than 2 words and or a number. Okay, so what does that mean? We have discussed these kind of things even before, but I will be repeating it in every life because I want you to be really thorough with it. I want you to have a complete idea about it, all right? So, write no more than 2 words. What are those 2 words? That means you can write two words. You can write two words like this. Okay? You can write 1 word. These 2 options are possible. And or a number. That means you can write 1 word and a number. That is 23. You can write 2 words and a number. Alright? So 2 words and a number. 1 word and a number. Or a number. That means you can write that number alone. And I've mentioned even before that this is one number. They're not looking at the digits. Even 100 will be counted as one number. These are all digits. This is 1, 0, 0. 1 and those 2 zeros are digits. They're not talking about digits, the number. Number 100 could be one number. This is one number. Even if it is 1 lakh, you wouldn't have such numbers here, but I'm just telling you. Even if it is 1 lakh, it would be one number. Alright? So, and a number. They've mentioned a number. That means one number. It's not one digit they're talking about. It's the number. That is this one. So, what are these 2 numbers if I'm writing? 100 and 200. That is 2 numbers. That is not allowed. Alright. So, is it clear? You got an idea about it, right? Yes. So, one question is done for you already. Workshops organized every Saturday. That answer is already given. Okay. Adults must accompany children under. Okay, that would be age. So you have to anticipate what the answer would be. It would be age. So let's look at the audio script. So first, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5. You'll see that there is an example that has been done for you. On this occasion only, the conversation relating to this will be played first. Ma'am, good morning. Samua Museum, can I help you? So the lady is saying, oh yes, good morning. I'm interested in the children's workshops and I'd like a little more information, please. Ma'am, do you mean the art and craft workshops? Lady is saying, yes. A friend of a friend mentioned them. But that's a new usage, right? Friend of a friend. So it's not very important. You understand the meaning of it? Like somebody mentioned it. But if you're in the learning process, what you have to do is pause it and try to understand what that is. So that next time, if that comes as an answer, you have an idea what that is. The children do painting and make models and so forth. Ma'am, yes, of course. And where to begin? First of all, as you probably know, they run every Saturday. So, workshops are held at every Saturday. Saturday is the answer. That's an example that has been done for you. The workshops are organized every Saturday, so Saturday has been written. Sorry, something happened. Saturday has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. Then the audio is starting. Okay. You should answer the questions as you listen because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 5. Now, we shall begin. Questions 1 to 5. Man, good morning, Smith Museum. Can I help you? Good morning, I'm interested in the children's workshops. It's the same thing. And I like a little more information, please. Man, do you mean the art and craft workshops? Lady, yes, a friend of a friend. Mention them. The children do painting and make models and so forth. Man, yes, of course. Where to begin? First of all, as you probably know, they run every Saturday. So most of the time, it is like this. If the example is given and an example is being done for you, then they will stop it and tell you, okay, this was an example. Now we shall begin. Now listen to the audio. And when you listen to the audio, you will be hearing the example first. So you shouldn't get confused, okay? Just keep listening. And some people, what they do is, oh, it's the example. I don't have to listen now. I have to start listening when they start talking about this whole question. But you shouldn't do it. You should, though you've heard it before, you should listen to that part carefully. Like, though I read it before, I'm reading it again. Just to remind you how important that you keep listening, because otherwise you won't be able to keep track of it. You will not be able to focus when they're actually starting to answer those questions, okay? So, now, I'm so sorry. Okay. So now, so where to begin? First of all, as you probably know, they run every Saturday. Lady, fine. And what about ages? Well, all ages from 5 upwards are welcome. So here they're mentioning an age 5, but is that your answer? We need adults accompany children below. Okay, that is what we want. Though we do ask that children below 8 years of age are accompanied by an adult. So the same thing is said, it's not even a paraphrasing. I mean, the sentence structure is a bit different, but the same thing. Adults should accompany children below 8 years of age. So you can simply write 8, that is correct, because they've said we can write a number. Alright, so we are writing a number 8. That is fine. Even if you write 8 years, even then your answer is correct. Why? Because they've said you can write a word and a number. Alright? No more than 2 words and a number. So you can write up to 2 words. So we're only writing 1 word and a number. That is allowed. Your answer will be correct. Is it clear? So, for the first question, the answer is 8 years. So now, second question, workshops held in Winter House dash street. It's the name of a street. So you will be a bit nervous. Okay, they're going to say the name of a street. How am I even going to write it? I don't know the spelling. But if they are actually saying something like this, they will spell it. So if it's not a very, for example, if it's it's a very famous place like London, then they may not. But if it is any other place than that, then they will specifically mention what that is. Would spell that place. So then, security device. Okay, so we'll look at the answer of second question. So, fine. That wouldn't be... are you able to see the material? Could you comment? So, we're looking at the second question. Well, that wouldn't be a problem. What about cost? Well, I think you'll find them very reasonable. It's £250 a child, and they tip you off for 2 or more children from the same family. Lady, oh yeah, very reasonable. And they are they held in the main museum? Ma'am, not exactly. They're nearby. Could you give me the full address? I don't know the area very well. So man is saying, yes, it's Winter House, lady, right. And that's in Tamers Street. So you would be nervous, like, oh my gosh, I don't know the spelling of this word. How am I even going to write it? So then you would hear them saying the spelling. Could you spell that, please? The lady is asking this man. And the man is saying, yes, Tamers Street. Tamer. Sometimes it would be very confusing if you don't understand the difference between A and E. T might be just quite easy, T-A. So the way it is pronounced in British English is a bit different, like the A and the E. So it sounds similar to as if you were hearing it for the first time, but it's pronounced in a different way. So what will you do? For that, like I said, you have to go for micro listening. You have to learn. You have to pause and then hear, okay, A, and you have to do the shadowing technique. You have to say that again so that you're learning the pronunciation of that sound. You're learning how that word, how that letter is pronounced, how that sound is made. So that next time when you hear it would be easy for you to distinguish. And you must do it. And this A and A distinction is very important, so you have to spend time on that and learn it, because it's very convenient if you do that, because you will have at least one spelling in an audio. So if you know how each letter is pronounced, then it's very convenient for you. You wouldn't lose marks there. I mean, in all the answers, even if there is a single mistake, spelling mistake, you will lose your marks. So you have to be very careful about it. Okay. Lady, lovely. Now, third question. Security device must push the dash to open door. So it would be some kind of button. It's just easy to guess, but let's see what's in the audio. Lady, lovely, ma'am. And I do need to tell you that there's a security entrance, so you need to press the green button. So don't press the red button, please, but don't worry, it's all clearly labeled. So you have to press the green button. So green button is your answer. Now moving on to the fourth question. Should leave car behind the dash. Behind what? So these are all very simple questions, easy to answer. You don't even need an explanation. Lady, okay. And one more question. Is parking available nearby? We're driving in from out of town. Now, your best bet is to leave your car at the back of the library. So in the question, they've used the word behind. Here they're saying you have to leave the car at the back of the library. So behind the library, you have to write library. This is the spelling of library. That is the correct answer. Okay. Next question, fifth question. Book workshops by phoning the dash on 200 765. All right. And can I ask you about booking places? Now, yes, I must tell you, you really should book by calling the education department here. You should book the workshops by calling the education department. So write education department for question number 5. Now you're given some time to read question number 6 to 10. So complete the table below. Write no more than 2 words for each answer. No more than 2 words. So what is that? What does it mean? Yes. 2 words. You cannot add any other word to it. Okay, you cannot add number, nothing. You can also write one word. Alright, okay. And also one more thing, if you write, for example, 8 years, right? If you are writing 8 years, 8 will be considered as a word. If you're writing in digits, I mean in letters. But if you're writing in the digit, it's fine. It would be considered as a number. That is the thing. So no more than 2 words. So you can write 1 word and 2 words for each answer. Okay. So here for the 5th question, I want to mention that too. For all other question, it was 1 word answer. Tamer, green button. Green button was 2 words. That is okay. Should leave the car behind the library. 1 word. That's okay. Phoning the education department. Like 2 words. That's okay. 8 years. That is also. Like don't write something like 8 years of age and all. If you write that, then it would be wrong because it's 3 words and a number. You will not get marks for it. So though the answer is technically correct, you will not get marks for it. So 8 years would be fine. All right, coming back to this part. Now you have, so this question, when you're reading it, one thing to notice, like I think we had a similar question in our first live, and I told you when you're getting a box like this, you have to look at from where it is going. So from 6, it's not like this. From 6, it's not coming to. From 6, it is not directly coming to 9. No, it is not like that. It is like this. It is going 6 to 7, 7 to 8. It is going that way towards the right. Then coming back to this part, the second column, then 9, then 10. That's how it's going. So that direction should also be. So these things have to happen within 2 seconds. Now I'm taking 1 minute maybe to explain it to you, but you have to do this within 1 second. So I'm telling you what are the things you have to do when you get a box like this, because sometimes you get confused. Like, oh my gosh, it's downwards. You would keep looking at after building. You would keep looking at the next row, and then you will write the answer for that question there. No, you may not notice the question number, so that will cause you to lose your marks. All right, so now they're saying next to workshops, workshop title, building, what is that? Let's see, and children advised to wear. For that workshop which is held on 16/11, what are children advised to wear? And also, what is please bring if possible? Okay, let's see those 3 answers. So, yes. All right. Here it is. Lady is saying, oh, I'm sorry. Should I have rung them instead of the main museum number? Matt, no, that's fine this time. Please don't worry. But for future reference, I'll give you the direct number. It's 2765. Lady, great. I've got that. Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at the questions 6 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 6 to 10. Man is saying, but I'm very happy to give you the information about workshops on Saturday, the 16th. There is the 16th. That's what we saw. What is the name? Building castles. So sometimes the pronunciation of this word would be a bit tricky for you. If it is, just do the micro listening and shadowing technique and learn it. So building castles. So if you want to understand how a word, then you need to learn to pronounce it, because then it would be 100% clear for you. So building castles. So castles is the answer. Lady, oh, sounds great. This involves kind of, so the man is telling her, the man at the museum is telling her, this involves quite a bit of glue. So just make sure the kids are in old clothes. So what is the answer for 6th question? It's castles. Children advised to wear old clothes. 2 words, old clothes. All right, please bring if possible. What do they have to bring if possible? Okay, and here also, if when you write building castles, it has to be plural. If you write singular, you will not get marks because it's a spelling mistake and you won't get marks for that in Ielts listening. This involves quite a bit, so children are advised to wear that. And they're asking to please bring, if possible, something. Lady, I know once I don't mind getting mucky, so just getting dirty and all of that. Man, exactly. And if possible, could you bring along bottle tops? So if possible, bring what? Bottle tops. 2 words. Correct answer. Which children might? So that is the answer for 8th question. Children might be able to use in the models, as decoration. Lady, will certainly try to find some for you. Man, then the following week, lady, that will be 23rd, won't it? So then moving on to the next row, 23rd 11. All right, the name. Let's see what are those questions. 9th question, the name. Workshop title, you have to write the title. Then, so I told you, if it's a name that you don't know, it's a new word or something, they would spell it. But for these kind of things, these names would be the words that we already know. So they wouldn't spell it. You will have to write it without the spelling being dictated. So 9th question is a workshop title name. And 10th one is, again, please bring if possible. Okay, so let's see the title. All right. So, that will be the 23rd, won't it, man? Yes, that's right. On that day, it's what we call undersea worlds. They're saying like worlds, and we would think it is like the whirlpool world, that world, WHIR, but that's not the world that they're referring to. So these are the things I said. You might be hearing the same thing, but undersea worlds. So you have to look for that pronunciation, learn it. Just play this audio again and again and learn how it's pronounced and try to even shadow it. This is where they make scenes with fishes, underground caverns, that means large cave, and so on. Lady, is that likely to get very dirty? Lots of paint splashes? Matt, not really, so we don't recommend any special clothes for that one. But if you could search out some silver paper to bring along to use, if you could, that means if possible, bring what? Silver paper. So write silver paper, 2 words. That's also a correct answer. Bring along to use in the sessions, It's shiny, it looks like water. That would be great. Lady, yes, of course, we'll see what we can come up with. Well, thank you ever so much for all your help. The sessions sound really good, and I certainly book up for the next 2. Man, lovely. Thanks very much for ringing. Lady, bye, and the man is saying goodbye. That is the end of section 1. So you'll have some time to check your answer, but don't use that time to check your answer. Instead, start reading your section 2. And when you're writing, so first you'll be writing the answers on the question paper booklet, right? And after that, at the end, you'll be given 10 minutes to transfer your answer to the answer sheet. During the time when you're transferring it, try to write the answers in the block letters. For example, for the first question, write 8. Yes, so that it will be legible. I mean, it's okay. Even if you write like this, you'll still get marks, but there is a chance that it wouldn't be that legible. So go for it. And you have enough time. You have 10 minutes time, so just do that. All right, I'll show the answers as well. First one, 8. Even if you write in or on tamer, that is also fine because 2 words are allowed. So I told you, even for first one, you can write 8 years. That is also fine. Tamer, green button, library, educational department, castles, old clothes, bottle tops, undersea worlds, and silver paper. All right. Yes, I hope it was helpful, and you will practice this. You have to practice this once again. If you tried it in the class, well and good, but if you didn't, just make sure you practice it at home. You play the video, it's available. We will be uploading it on our Nithus page as well as Nithus Academy YouTube channel, so you can watch it there. So thank you so much, and we'll see in the next live, which will be on next Saturday at 10 a.m. Okay, stay tuned for it. Bye-bye. Take care and have a beautiful day. All right, so